President Trump touting a productive call with Minnesota leaders after speaking with both Governor Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey to try and reach an agreement of how to ease tensions on and amid the ongoing clashes in the state.
And Border Czar Tom Homan now preparing to meet with Mayor Frey today as well after being deployed by President Trump.
Matt Finn is live in Minneapolis with the details. Matt, coming together.
Hi, Ainsley. Yeah, the Trump administration is making some major strategic changes here in Minnesota. Tom Homan is now going to be the main point of contact on the ground and will report directly to the president. Border Patrol Commander Gregory Pavino had been acting as a lead here, even recently hosting daily press conferences. But Pavino is now returning to be sector chief in El Centro, California, and other Border Patrol agents are leaving Minnesota as well. Tom Homan will be calling the shots. Fox has previously reported that Homan operates differently than Pavino, whose aggressive tactics are considered more aligned with DHS Secretary Kristi Noem and top White House advisor Stephen Miller. It was also announced that Noem is set to testify before the House Judiciary Committee on March 3rd. Now, yesterday, the president said he had constructive calls with Governor Walz and Mayor Frey. Writing afterwards, Governor Tim Walz called me with the request to work together with respect to Minnesota. It was a very good call, and we actually seem to be on a similar wavelength. I told Governor Walz that I would have Tom Homan call him and that what we are looking for are any and all criminals that they have in their possession. Now, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said Homan was on a plane here to Minnesota yesterday. The president says Homan will meet with Mayor Frey today. And DHS tells Fox it is reviewing body camera video from officers involved in the shooting death of Alex Preddy on Saturday. Preddy was seen using a cell phone video to take video and was getting near immigration agents. DHS is also investigating the possibility that the gun Preddy had on him, which video appears to show an officer removing, may have accidentally fired after Preddy was on the ground. And last night, agitators continued their campaign of targeting hotels where they think immigration agents are staying and making as much noise as possible to prevent agents from getting rest. Agitators gathered outside a hotel in Maple Grove where they think Pavino was staying. A video shows officers taking people into custody. We are working to firm up the number of arrests. Now, DHS claims that threats against ICE officers has now gone up more than 8,000%. Back to you guys in New York.
Matt, is that new? I mean, remember on Sunday night, it didn't seem like cops were doing anything. And now it looks like they were wrestling some guys that wouldn't leave to the ground. Does that show a new stance when it comes to what locals are willing to do for the federal agents?
Well, what's interesting is that was in Maple Grove, which is a suburb. They released a statement saying we don't tolerate that type of violence here. Okay. It's outside of the city of Minneapolis where we are. So two different, perhaps, policies there. Yeah.
All right. Maybe suburbs have a different approach. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
So we've been watching all of this. Thank you, Matt. We've been watching all this unrest for weeks now. And on both sides, people are saying, OK, something has to be done. The president saw that. He's changing leadership on his side in Minnesota. And then he is extending the olive branch, calls the governor, calls the local mayor of Minneapolis, Mayor Frey, has productive conversations. Everyone involved has said that. Tim Walz said, I had a productive call with President Trump earlier today. And he said, I told him, could we roll the prompter? Thank you so much. I told him we need impartial investigations of the Minneapolis shootings involving federal agents and that we need to reduce the number of federal agents in Minnesota. And then Mayor Frey said, I spoke with President Trump this afternoon and appreciated the conversation. I expressed how much Minneapolis has benefited from our immigrant communities and was clear that my main ask is that Operation Metro Surge needs to end. Minneapolis will continue to cooperate with state and federal law enforcement on real criminal investigations, but we will not participate in unconstitutional arrests of our neighbors. So they're agreeing to work together. Tom Homan's going to meet with both of them today.
But number one, Metro Surge is going to end when the president's going to end. It's nice of him to go to assert himself. He has to add those little additional sentences because that's what he does. I mean, he says this has got to end. They don't work. Local is not working with federal officials on these cases. They're not opening up their jails. That's one thing that Tom Homan will ask for today. He said, we need access to these guys, so we don't have to wait outside the jail when you release them and then hunt them down again. That's what makes it bad. Also, if we can communicate with you when maybe you can secure the perimeter when we have to move on dangerous illegal immigrant criminals, that would certainly benefit. And I'm not sure it violates your sanctuary city policies, but I think that like every good leader, If you have a plan that's not effective and you see it escalating out of control, you have to come up with another plan. And that plan is Tom Homan to come in there and just say, all right, I don't know what the past has been with you, Mayor and Governor. It doesn't matter. This is what I'm hoping to do. What are you hoping to do? So he listens. He gets some marching orders. Then he goes and meets with agents who I understand feel there's absolutely no leadership from Kristi Noem and Greg Bavino. They feel totally out of touch. So hopefully Tom Homan will address those leadership gaps and then maybe put the people in place that will be effective in implementing this plan to get illegal immigrants, the worst of the worst, out of major cities. It's been effective in New Orleans, been effective in Memphis, been effective in Washington, D.C., and I think it's even been effective in Chicago.
Well, yeah, and look, this is a positive step forward because President Trump realizes that, two things can be true at the same time. The country wholeheartedly wants violent, criminal, illegal aliens out of this country, while at the same time, they're not comfortable with what we're seeing in Minneapolis. And President Trump's already getting results because he's changed Frey and Walz to open their door to consider actually cooperating, which is the whole reason why ICE went in the first place. ICE didn't have to go in there, but for the fact that these cities that are sanctuary jurisdictions were letting these criminal aliens loose. Caroline Levitt talked a little bit about it yesterday, saying that there's no need for ICE, CBP, Border Patrol to be in these places if you would just have cooperation. Now, with those statements you just read, Ainsley, I think that's showing that President Trump has actually opened up a door.
Look,
he's changed the game.
I agree. It's a step in the right direction so that we can end this unrest. Tom Homan's going to say, we're getting these guys. If they're bad guys, if they're pedophiles, if they have, whatever they've done, if they're bad guys and they're here illegally, we're going to get them. So do you want to help us or not? If you help us, we'll help you. You won't have these riots in your city. Your city won't be on, the top story of every news. Everything will get back to normal in Minneapolis. So let's work together.
Yeah, also, they want to focus on the fraud, which is massive and growing, $9 billion. And the cash register is still going off.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.